All right, so today let's start downward facing Shavasana. So just landing on your belly. And you can navigate this a few different ways. If you want to make a pillow with your hands, turn your cheek to one side, you're welcome to do that. You could be resting on your forehead, arms by your side, or even on a cheek here. You could put a blanket or a block underneath your head. Maybe you want to do cactus arms. So just kind of see what feels good here. And then waggle the hips back and forth a little bit. Just kind of loosen up that lower back, that lumbar area. And then take a nice deep inhale through your nose. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go, ha. Do that a couple more times, deep, full inhale. Let the breath go, ha. And then begin to drop into your ujjayi breath. So inhaling through your nose, exhaling through your nose, creating that soft rush of air in the back of your throat. And then really keying into how the rib cage expands on the inhale and then contracts on the exhale. So just noticing that. Particularly if your arms are by your side, notice you're kind of holding the shoulders, let them release. So they're going to be lifted from the mat a little bit, that's okay. But just make sure that there's not any extra tension, excess tension. If you have your cheek turned to one side, go ahead and turn it to the other side. And just resting on your forehead, you can stay there. If you feel like you want to change your arm position, you're welcome to do so. Just soaking up these initial quiet moments. So letting the day so far go. Letting the to-do list go. Just giving yourself permission to check in here, to get quiet, to get still. Good. So if your cheeks are turned to one side or the other, just come back to center, and you can lift up a little bit here. So we're going to do a little shoulder neck stretch. So take your arms out in a T shape. So if you're tighter in your shoulders, this probably isn't going to work. We're going to do our little kind of flip the dog thing with our legs on our belly here. If you're a little more open in your shoulders, this configuration is going to work. So we're going to flip to the left side first. So if you know that you're a little more open in your shoulders, you are going to keep the wrist perpendicular to the shoulder. Otherwise, you're going to angle that arm down a little bit. Come up onto your right fingertips like little gecko fingers here. And then you're going to turn onto your left cheek. And you're going to start to flip your right leg up and over. It might not get all the way there. So you're pinning this left shoulder and ear down. You might need to rest your head on a block or a blanket. And then maybe you start to extend your right arm up. You could lean back. You might even externally rotate. And then bend the elbow. Just walk the fingers up your back. So that's kind of like a half Gomukhasana. So it would look like this, although you're laying down. Wherever you're at, you're just trying to release that right shoulder, head back, feeling a little openness and stretch across your heart and chest. And that being said, you might feel this in the lower back as well. And you're certainly feeling a little pressure on the left side of your neck and shoulder. Couple more breaths here. You can even play with what happens if you come up on your tippy toes, that right foot. What happens if you lower that left heel down? It kind of gives you a nice little stretch, the outer hip flexor. Deep inhale. As you exhale, Go ahead and unwind there. So coming back onto your belly, and we take the second side. So again, just kind of navigate this. You can always mix it up if you need to, if the shoulder is a little tighter. So arm perpendicular or angle it down. Come up onto your left fingertips, land on that right ear, and then just flip that left leg up and over. Maybe extend your left arm up. If that just feels too intense, you skip that. And then maybe start to externally rotate, bend at the elbow, kind of walk the back of that hand up your spine. Press there to get a little leverage, lean that elbow back, lean that shoulder head back. And then you're just breathing into all of the spots. So this actually, it's pretty intense little pose, even though it doesn't seem like much is going on. Hits a lot of different areas. If you wanted to play with coming up onto those left tiptoes and then lowering the heel down, just observing where it shifts the stretch that you're getting in your body. A couple more breaths. And then if you're in that half bind, go ahead and inhale, stretch the arm up. Exhale, unwind. We land with our fingertips underneath our shoulder heads. The elbows squeeze in here. Reaching back through all 10 toes, so the tops of the feet are pressing into the mat. And then we move into a little low cobra here. So as you inhale, chest extends forward and up. Tiny, tiny movement. You're not pressing into your hands here. As you exhale, lower down. Inhaling, lift. Feel that lengthening and stretching. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, lift legs, really active. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift here. As you exhale, start to bring your gaze out over your right shoulder. So just feel that stretch in your neck. You might even tuck your chin a little bit. Just see if that shifts how you're feeling things. Good. Inhale, lift and come to center. And then exhale, begin to gaze out over that left shoulder. Keep those shoulder blades squeezing in towards each other. And maybe tuck your left chin a little bit. Just notice where you're getting the sensation in your neck. Good. Inhale, lift chin, come back to center. And then let's go ahead and maybe press your arms a little bit, but keep the elbow squeezing in. You don't have to go very far. Try to keep this openness across your heart and chest. Squeeze the outer glutes a little more. Press into all 10 toenails. So a more full version of our Bhujangasana Cobra pose. Exhale, lower down. Let's get into the shoulders again here. So reaching your arms by your side. If you have the flexibility, you're going to interlace your fingers. You're going to keep a little bend in your elbows, particularly if you're on the hyper flexible side in your joints. Rooting down into your feet, rooting down into your pubic bone, your hip bones. As you inhale, chest extends forward and up. Roll a little bit to the outer edges of the feet. And of course, if there's a lot of tension in your shoulders, you're just reaching your fingertips back, so palms face in towards each other. Filling up on your inhale, finding a little lightness, a little lift. Anchoring down on your exhale. One more deep inhale here. And then exhale, lower. Change the interlacing of your fingers if you took that variation. As we inhale, everything lifts up. So legs, shoulders. Try to lift the back of your body as much as you're lifting the front of your body. If your shoulders are up around your ears, soften them down. Squeeze the shoulder blades in towards each other. One more deep inhale. Exhale, legs return to the mat. Fingertips come underneath your shoulder heads. Either stay here, Bhujangasana. If you're ready for an up dog, drag your hands back, wrists under elbow. Just check to see that that's happening. Next inhale, press arms to straight. Activate the legs. Good. So if you're in your up dog, your shins, your knees, your thighs are lifting up off the mat. If that's not happening or it doesn't feel good today, lower back down to your Bhujangasana. And then from here, roll over your toes to your downward facing dog, or You can also press up to your tabletop if you're in your low cobra, and then make your way to your downward dog. So when you get here, just take a moment, find a little movement, especially on a rainy day. The bones can feel a little creakier, so you might get some clicks and some pops. Just do whatever feels good here. And of course, if you're just craving some stillness, some quiet, come to a place of stillness right away. Good, so we eventually land with our feet hips distance apart. And you know that because you're gazing between your feet, your ears are lining up with your biceps. Begin to firm muscle to bone. So I'm gonna squeeze all the muscles upward in the legs and in the arms. You're feeling your belly pull in and up. We're gonna inhale, shift forward to our plank pose. Good, couple of breaths here. Gaze is forward, an inch or two in front of your fingertips, so you're not dropping your head and looking at your toes. You're pressing your heels back a lot. That helps you to lengthen your tailbone back, but you're countering that by stretching your sternum forward. And then as you exhale, come way forward on your toes, maybe come to knees. Elbows bend no more than halfway. They might only go an inch or two. Lower down onto your belly. Inhale, low cobra or your upward facing dog. Roll over your toes. Downward facing dog. Good work. From here, we're going to inhale, lift our right leg. Keep your hips even. Exhale, step that foot through between your hands. Land on your left knee. Few breaths here, just melting this left hip down. So big hip flexor stretch. You could always take your hands on blocks if you're on the tight side. Just a little trick to bring the floor closer. Good, and then let's start to upright ourselves here. Make sure that you feel like you're not on a tightrope, so you might need to walk that right foot off to the right. Inhale, arms stretch up. Right fingertips to left wrist. Squeeze that right hip in as you side bend to the left, maybe gazing up underneath that top arm. Good, inhale up to center. As you exhale, hands come down to the mat. Curl your left toes under. Keep your gaze forward. Keep your hips this low as you sneak that right foot back to meet your left. Nice work. Shift forward on your toes. Exhale, lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Inhale, low cobra or upward facing dog. We can mix and match here. As you exhale, you pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts, hips stay even, those toes are pointing down. Use your belly strength to help you step that foot through. You might have to pick it up and move it. Land on that right knee. And then as much as feels good in your body, you start to melt that right hip down. Big muscles here, so this can be quite intense. You might be noticing how this side feels different than the other. All right, hands come up to that left thigh. Make sure that you are wide enough here. Inhale, arms reach up. All right, left fingertips, right wrist. Squeeze that left hip in as you side bend to the left. Such a nice stretch here through that right side. As you're feeling that, though, keep spinning left ribs up towards the ceiling. Maybe you're gazing up underneath that top arm. Inhale, upright yourself. As you exhale, I'm going to turn this way. Curl your right toes under. So keep your hips this low. Step back to plank pose. Nice deep inhale. Exhale, shift forward, lower halfway, hover. We're all the way down. Inhale into your low cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. From here, lower down to hands and knees. So just coming to a tabletop position. And we're going to inhale, stretch our right leg up, reach the left arm forward. Good. Bend your right knee. Reach back, see if you can find that foot. And then if you've got it, Kick that foot into your hand. So you're thinking Dhanurasana, boat pose, or not boat pose, bow pose rather, in that right leg. You're spinning left ribs to the right, to the left rather. There's a little twist, little back bend, little balance. All right, inhale, gracefully lengthen back out. And then exhale, release down. Okay, so we inhale, left leg, right arm. Find that length, start to bend the left knee. Gonna reach around, see if you can find the foot, and when you've got it, kick it. So finding that sense of bow pose, so that back bend, hip flexor stretch. Your left ribs are wrapping to the right. Maybe you're gazing up over that right shoulder. Are you breathing? Keep it smooth and steady. And then inhale, lengthen back out. VI's having all kinds of problems today. Sorry, guys. Lower down. All right, so from here, curl your toes under, pull your hips back again into your downward facing dog. As you inhale, think light, happy thoughts, little bend in your knees, come to your tippy toes. You can walk forward, step right, then left, or maybe you're ready to spring both feet through. Inhale, chest lengthens. Exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Little flow. Inhaling, reaching. Good. Right fingertips, left wrist. Exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale up to center. Left fingertips, right wrist, side bend to the left. Inhale up to center. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Nice and graceful. Let the back of your neck lengthen. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Exhale, fold. Good, inhale, press down into your feet, stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Like that again with a little side bend. Inhale, reach. Good, exhale, side bend to the right. Inhale to center. Left fingertips, right wrist, exhale, side bend to the left. Beautiful work. Inhale, come back up to center. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, fold. Inner thigh spiral back as sit bones stretch up towards the ceiling. Root down to rise up. Good, as you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Let's do two more just like that with the side bend to each side. I'm not going to cue you. You're just going to move with your breath. So as you're ready, maybe close your eyes for these. Let them feel good. There's no rush. And you're just hooking up your breath, your movement, finding this space, this gracefulness inside your body. Good, and there's no rush at all when you're done with your second round, just pausing in your mountain pose, Tadasana, palms together at your heart. Just gaze soft and gentle at your fingertips, checking in, noticing what's changing. So you might be feeling some heat, the breath might be moving a little faster, maybe the heart's beating a little louder, a little harder. All right, so let's continue to add on here. So as you inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, hinge, forward fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Step your left foot way back. Land on that knee. And I am gonna flip around here. All right, so we're gonna find a little twist. So we're gonna root down into our left palm, start to lift this right arm up. So a couple breaths here. You're really pressing to the inner edge of the right foot. And then option here, if it feels okay, bend that left knee, reach back. You might have to kind of adjust a little bit and then see if you can find that foot. Spin a little deeper. So we turn this more into that hip flexor stretch. A couple of us might even come down onto that left forearm. I need a lazy Susan so we can get all of the angles. So yeah, I should definitely be feeling this on that left hip flexor. Good. So if you've got that foot, go ahead and gently release. Try not to slingshot out. Stretch your right arm up. And then as you exhale, unwind. Let's curl left toes under, firm that thigh up. Inhale, rise up into our full crescent pose. Good. Squeeze the outer hips in a lot. Right fingertips, left wrist. Start to side bend to the right. Spinning those right ribs up towards the ceiling. And then if you'd like, go ahead and reach this left hand down. That right hand down your left leg. Good. Inhale, come up to center. As you exhale, palms plant. All right. Keep your gaze forward. Step right foot back to meet your left foot. Nice deep inhale here in plank pose. Legs super active. Exhale, your version of Chaturanga. Vinyasa. We all meet back in our downward facing dog. Good work. As you inhale, your left leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through, land on your right knee. Good work. And we find this twist. So initially, just root down into the right palm, shoulders over wrists, press to the inner edge of that left foot as you start to open up. And you're looking for shoulder blades to stack on top of each other. Sometimes we can lean this top arm way back. No need to do that. You can gaze up at that left thumb, however. So you could always stay here like this. If you want to play with that back bend, that hip flexor stretch, maybe bend the right knee. Reach back, see if you can find the foot. And then it's that same feeling we had in when we were doing this in our tabletop. Kind of kicking that foot into your hand, leaning the shoulder back. If you want to go a little further still, you can come down to your forearm. Keep that breath moving. You can always pad up the back knee a little bit if you need to as well. This can kind of be hard on the knee. You don't want to be right on the kneecap. Okay, so nice and gentle. Try not to slingshot that leg back. Open up. And then exhale, unwind, palms plant. Curl your right toes under. So make sure that you're on train tracks here with your legs. They are hips distance apart. Inhale, rise up. Crescent pose. Left fingertips, right wrist. Squeeze this left hip in a lot as you side bend to the left. Spinning left ribs up, maybe gazing up ever so gently underneath that right arm. And then stay here, or maybe reach that left hand down that right thigh. Get that left shoulder out of your ear. Beautiful, beautiful work. All right, as we inhale, we upright ourselves. As we exhale, hands plant, we step our right foot to meet our left foot at the top of the mat. Inhale, chest extends. Exhale, fold in. Pressing down into your feet, stretching arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. A little flow on this left side. As you inhale, arms reach. Beautiful. As you exhale, hinge forward, fold in. Inhale, chest extends forward, gaze comes forward. Step your right foot way back. Inhale, rise up, crescent pose. Good. Exhale, side bend to the left. Good. As you inhale, reach that left arm down. Exhale, gaze up underneath that right arm. Inhale, upright yourself here. And then as you exhale, hands come to the mat. In this same exhale, see if you can step to your plank, lower halfway, hover, or all the way down. Inhale into your Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, pull back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts, hips stay even. Exhale, step that foot through. Good, strong legs carry you up on your inhale. Crescent pose. Squeeze that right hip in as you exhale. Side bend to the right. Inhale. Release that right hand down the left leg. Exhale. Spin a little more. Look up underneath that top arm. Inhale. Crescent pose. Beautiful work. As you exhale, hands come to the mat. Step your left foot to meet your right foot. Inhale, chest lengthens. As you exhale, fold in. Inhale, press into your feet. Stretch arms out and up. As you exhale, hands come together at your heart. Close your eyes. Maybe sigh the breath out through your mouth. Just take a moment or two here to check in, to kind of let everything slow down. And also just to enjoy the heat you're creating inside your body, the space you're starting to find. All right. So standing with your feet hips distance apart, second and third toe point forward. Feel your lower belly engage. We're going to inhale. Bend the knees, come into our Utkatasana chair pose. You can take your arms as wide as you need to here. So especially if you're a little tighter in the shoulders, wider is nicer. It helps you to bring those elbows to straight. Okay, we're gonna root down into our left foot. Try to keep hips facing the same direction. Just lift that right foot up off the mat. An inch or two, you're gonna feel all of these muscles, the quadriceps fire up. Okay, so nice and slow. Start to straighten your left leg. Bend your right knee. Okay, we're gonna backstroke this right arm. You're gonna grab the inner edge of that right foot. So your thumb is towards your big toe. Keeping hips facing the same direction, so facing forward. Start to hinge forward, but think more extension up, so that back bend feeling. And then again, keep kicking that leg into your hand, right leg into your hand. Notice if that hip opens up a lot, try to spin it down. Again, I totally need a lazy Susan here. Big, big balance pose, so it's okay if you fall out. Nice work, Pamela. As you inhale, go ahead and release. Palms come together, your heart, feet are hips distance apart. Whew. Thankfully, there's only one more side. As you inhale, knees bend, arms reach. Chair pose, Utkatasana. So feel the outer hips, the glutes engage. Begin to shift the weight into that right foot. Just lift the left foot up. A few breaths here like this. It's amazingly challenging. And then at the same time, start to straighten your right leg as you bend your left knee. Good. You're gonna backstroke that left arm. So your hand comes to the inside of the foot. Thumb is on the big toe. All right, hips are facing forward. Hold on to that, think crescent pose. As you think extension up, hinge forward at your waist. Kick that foot into your hand. You're gonna have to keep spinning that left rib down. Gorgeous work. Breath smooth and steady, something to gaze at in front of you that isn't moving, helps with the balance. Some days it's easier than others. Just know that's part of the yoga game. Good. As we inhale, we come on up. Oh, release. Palms come together at your heart. I got a little head rush there. Take a few breaths. All right, so you're at the top of your mat. As we inhale, knees bend, arms reach up, Utkatasana chair pose. As you exhale, hinge forward fold in Uttanasana. Inhale, chest lengthens forward, Ardha Uttanasana. Keep gaze forward, bend knees, plant palms, right foot back, then left foot. Good, take an inhale here in your plank pose, legs really active, and then shift forward on your toes, slowly to the count of 5. Lower to your belly, 3, 2, and 1. Sphinx pose. So landing with your shoulders over your elbows, pressing down into your forearms. Press the shoulder heads back. It feels like you're gonna slide the mat back towards your feet. All right, so we're gonna start on our right side. If you're a little more open, again, you can keep your hands like this. Most of us are gonna angle this left hand in. We're gonna bend our right knee, reach back, grab the foot. And you can do this a couple ways on this side. You can actually grab the outer edge of the foot. If you have the flexibility and you can grab the inner edge, you can do that. So the same thing that we just did in our Artichondrasana dancer pose. You're trying to release this right shoulder down. Good, feeling that. Big hip flexor stretch on the top of that right thigh. If you would like a little more still, you can press in to that left hand, start to straighten that arm. And then if you would like, maybe lift that left leg up off the mat. So it comes into Shavasana. Yeah, you got it, Pamela. Looking good. One more deep inhale, little more back bend. It might just be a thought. Exhale, release down. Find that Sphinx pose again. Just take a couple of breaths here. So kind of stabilizing, rooting down, activating those glutes so the outer glutes are squeezing in towards each other to support you here. And then this Utkatasana. So angle right fingertips in. If you know you're a little tighter in those hip flexors and shoulders, reach that left hand back, grab the foot so you're bending that left knee. And then you're pulling in, you're trying to release that left shoulder blade even with the right. You're noticing how this side feels different in your body if it feels different. And then finally, if you want to go a little further still, press into your right palm, maybe start to straighten that arm. If you go there and it's excruciating, by all means, get out. Less is more. And then finally, if you want to lift that right leg up off the mat, you're welcome to do that too. Keep rolling a little bit to the outer edge of that right foot. One more deep inhale. Lift a little higher, even if it's just a thought. And exhale, come on down. Find your Sphinx pose here. Good, and then you can stay here if you would like to come into a deeper version of our Bhujangasana, so more of a full Cobra pose. Root down into your palms from here, and then start to straighten the arms. Press shoulder heads back a lot if you're doing that. Squeeze the outer hips in towards each other. Press into all 10 toenails. These look good. Couple more breaths. Maybe bring your gaze up. So don't do that by throwing your head back. Keep your neck nice and long. But do kind of bring your eyeballs up a little bit. Good, and then as we exhale, we roll down. So we're just gonna make a pillow with our hands. Turn your cheek to one side. And then let's bend the knees and windshield wiper the legs back and forth here just to release out that deep back bending. All right, turn your cheek to the other side. And you can keep windshield wipering your legs here. Good, come back to center. Reach the legs back. Your choice, low cobra or upward facing dog. From here, we pull back to our downward facing dog. Good, and then you might want to pedal the legs back and forth a little bit here too, just to further release out the lower back. And then eventually, just finding that place of stillness. So one kind of final little push here before we come into some deeper hip stretching. So as you inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, step that foot through. Okay, so grab a block if you have one, just kind of have it to the outside edge of that right foot. We're gonna heel toe our right foot to the left twice. Spin into the back edge of this left heel. So right heel is intersecting left arch. Keep a deep bend in your right knee. Coming into your Virabhadrasana 2. All right, as you inhale, press that front leg to straight. Exhale, sink in. Good, right palm flips up. Inhale, reverse your warrior. Good, exhale, press that right leg to straight. Good, and then inhale, keep the legs straight, just upright your torso. Exhale, hinge forward at this right hip crease. Keep firming into the back edge of that left foot. Reach, reach, reach. Find all of that lateral extension. Hand can come to thigh, shin, or block. Fingertips might even be on the floor underneath you. Utkatasana, triangle pose. Like one of the best poses in the world in my very humble assessment. Just feels pretty good. We're gonna get into the shoulder a little bit here. So you're gonna start to spin your left palm to face behind you. Good, bend the elbow. So you can grab a piece of shirt, piece of pants. You can maybe get your left fingertips to the inside of your right thigh. Maybe you're just pressing the back of the hand into your spine. You're just trying to find a little opening here. And we're gonna transition this into our Artichondrasana. So feel free to try it with this wrap today. It's kind of fun. If you're like, no, that's not for me, just bring your left fingertips to your left hip. Keep your chest spinning open this much. Bring your gaze down. Start to bend your right knee. Now you might have to step that left foot back in. If you're trying to challenge yourself a little bit here, see if you can lift in one piece. You're gonna have to really activate that left leg. Your block comes forward. Good. And then let's all bend this left knee. You know where we're going. We're so ready for it. Reach back, see if you can find the foot. If you've got it, kick it back. We're nice and open in the hip flexors. So this should feel pretty good. And then maybe get a little lighter on that right hand. Maybe even stretch the fingertips forward for a breath or two. You might fall out, no big deal. Woo! Good. Let's stretch back into our full Artichondrasana. So triangle pose on its side. And then nice and easy, start to bend that right knee a lot. We're gonna inhale up and over into a reverse warrior. Oh, yeah. And then as we exhale, hands windmill up and over. I like combined two words at the same time. And your choice here, step back to downward facing dog, take a chaturanga vinyasa. This is like the second last to last opportunity for that. But if you're cooked, you skip them. All right, so that little sequence to the second side. As you inhale, your left leg lifts. As you exhale, step that foot through. Okay, heel toe it to the right twice, spin into the back edge of your right foot. We are heel to arch. Inhale. Rise up, Virabhadrasana 2. Good. As you inhale, again, arms straighten, legs straighten. Exhale, sink in. Flip that left palm up. Inhale, find your reverse. Good. Exhale, press to the inner edge of your left foot. Straighten that leg, reverse triangle. Keep the legs straight. Inhale here. And then exhale. And feel this grip at that left hip crease. Keep reaching forward, finding all of that lateral extension through the left side of your waist, hand to shin, thigh, fingertips to the floor, or hand to block. Block is really nice, just gives you more room here. Try to lengthen through the left side of your waist as you spin those left ribs up. And then externally rotate top arm. Good, reach back, bend the elbow, so pressing hand to the spine. Maybe you can grab a piece of shirt. Maybe you can get your right fingertips to the inside of your left thigh if you have amazingly long monkey arms, such as I do. Wherever you're at, that you're just trying to open up that right shoulder a little more. Keep pressing to the inner edge of that left foot. That's what helps to engage this big hip opening. Okay, and then we make the transition to our Artichondrasana. So again, stay in the wrap here. If you feel a little more steady with right fingertips on right hips, that works as well. We begin to bend this left knee, walk your block, fingertips forward. And then again, you can also step this back foot in. If you're a little newer to this pose, that's a great variation. Otherwise, you can also try to lift in one piece. Really activate this lifted leg. So what would it feel like to stand on that leg, even though it is lifted up? Try to find that much enthusiasm. And then we begin to bend the knee. Ooh, reach back, see if you can find the foot. And then when you get it, kick it. Feel that right shoulder head leaning back. And then see if you can get a little lighter on your left fingertips. I have to look more down to find that. And then maybe you can lift your left hand up. Ooh, maybe you fall out, do better than I am. All right. So go ahead, find your full, biggest, bestest, brightest, happiest Artichondrasana, take up space. And then we're gonna start to bend this left knee. Nice and easy, don't overthink it. Inhale, up and over. Reverse your warrior. Yeah. And then as you exhale, windmill arms up and over. Last one if you want it. Little chaturanga vinyasa. Maybe you're cooked, maybe you're over it. In which case you pull back to your downward facing dog. Oh, we all meet back there. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And then you open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. All right, hard part's over. I should say that kind of part is over. So we're gonna move into some deep hip stretches, which can actually be pretty challenging for a lot of us too. So we're gonna inhale, lift our right leg. We're moving into our single pigeon. So you might wanna have a block or a blanket handy. So bring that knee forward. Good, and then land on the shin. Start to slide your left leg back. It's like that leg is coming into Shavasana. So blanket underneath this right booty, especially if you're a little tighter. If you're a little more open in this pose, you might start to square your shin to the top of your mat. And then you just begin to walk in any amount. So maybe you're on fingertips, maybe hands are on blocks, maybe you're on forearms. You might slowly move in a little deeper. We're gonna be here like a minute and a half. So also, if you are a little tighter in your hips, you're gonna bring your right heel closer to this left hip. And it can be nice to flex this right foot, especially if there's any sensation in your knee joint. That just helps to engage those muscles, so it offers a little protection. It's like you can't kind of get in quite so deep. Good. So your breath is naturally starting to slow on its own. Maybe your attention is naturally starting to wander on its own as well. That often happens when we come into these long held poses. So if that's you, maybe start to count your breath. Inhaling to 7 or 8 or 9, kind of stretching things out. And if this feels excruciating, that means you're in too deep, so you need to back out a little bit too. And sometimes it's hard to move in that direction. I give you permission to do less. It counts. All right, so from here, we're gonna start to walk our hands in, maybe even come up to your fingertips, kind of press the shoulder heads back so it feels like an upward facing dog in the upper body. Nice. And then we're gonna take this left leg up and over. So coming in to our double pigeon. So crossing shins at the center. A couple of us might stack shins. So as you can see, I have pretty open hips. So this left knee is pretty flush to that foot. If you're lifting a lot, come back to your Sukhasana. You can also be sitting up on something here. Inhale, arms reach up. As you exhale, think lots of length as you fold in. Doesn't matter how far you go. So you could be pretty upright here. I would prefer that you keep some length, a little feeling of Cobra pose in your upper body as opposed to rounding. If you are more open, you could stack fists on top of each other, make a little pillow for your head. You could rest your head on a block. And of course, we're getting into the opposite hip here. How does it feel in your body? What's going on? Maybe you're noticing that thoughts not even related to the pose are kicking up. That often happens when we come into these static poses. It's like we always think we need to be doing something. The brain is always thinking about something, worrying about something. See if you can let that go. See if you can give yourself permission to just be in the pose, to be with the physical sensations, to be with the sound of your breath. And it doesn't have to look perfect. I actually think it's incredibly hard. It's much easier to do when we're flowing with the breath as opposed to being in these static poses. But play around with that. Do your best. What's it like to just be quiet with yourself? All right, so you might end up staying here like this for 8 or 9 more breaths. If you would like to play with the Gomukhasana leg version, roll on up. So this is a pose where we stack our knees on top of each other. So it gets into this really interesting place in the hips. Again, if you're more open, your shins are gonna come parallel to the top of the mat. If you're a little tighter, heels are gonna come closer to your hips. For some of us, this just isn't in the cards. So if it's absolutely impossible, it's okay if you cross, if you're not like directly on top of each other, but you could also just stick with your double pigeon. So same thing here. You can fold in any amount. You're probably gonna find that you can't go quite as far. And just a few more breaths, just kind of noticing where you're getting the sensation. All right, so wherever you're at, you inhale, come on up. Good. We're gonna pull back to our downward facing dog to set up for the second side. So as you get there, inhale, left leg lifts, and then exhale, bring that leg forward, land on the knee. So bring your shin any amount parallel to the top of the mat. If you're open, it's gonna be fairly parallel. If you're tighter, it's not gonna be. So your left heel is gonna come towards your right hip. Stretch back nice and long through that right leg, think Shavasana, and then maybe give yourself a little support. Side to side in the hips especially, things can be really different. So maybe you didn't need a prop on the other side, but you do on this side. And again, we're here like a minute and a half, so pretty long hold. So you don't have to go for the max stage of the pose in the first breath or two. Give yourself time to melt in, to kind of start to release. Modify as needed. So there's so much wisdom in being able to do that. These hip stretching poses pretty intense for most of us. So if you're feeling it, if it's uncomfortable, if you're hating it, that's okay. All right, so we're gonna start to walk our hands in here. And again, just take a breath or two, find that feeling of up dog. So I like to be on my fingertips here so I can get a little more length, beautiful. And then we come into double pigeon. So crossing right shin in front of left, maybe sitting up on a blanket. You can stack shins on top of each other. Good, stretch arms up and then start to hinge forward, folding in. So feeling that sensation in the outer right hip, the right glute. Okay, so if you know the Gomukhasana legs aren't for you, just stay here. Otherwise, start to roll on up. Stacking right knee on top of left knee. So shins any amount of parallel to the top of the mat. If you're tighter, heels come further back. You might stay upright the whole time and be getting an intense stretch. That's fine. If you have a little more room, you start to lengthen forward. This one is intense, but I think it's so yummy. I might be a weirdo. Y'all are like, might, definitely. Good, and then from here, just start to roll on up. Can extend legs to straight, give them a little shake. And then we come onto our backs here. So hugging knees in. Good, stay there, arms out in a T shape. Just a quick little twist before we come into our Shavasana. So as you exhale, drop knees off to the right. Maybe gaze out over left fingertips. Back to center with the knees, and then as you exhale, they drop off to the left. Gazing out over right fingertips. Back to center. One final squeeze here, and then finding a nice, peaceful, restful Shavasana. Legs can be extended if that feels okay in your lower back. If there is any sensation, something underneath your knees, blocks, blankets, or you can simply bend your knees, take your feet wide, and then allow your knees to knock in towards each other. So be here for a moment or two, just soaking up all of the hard work you've done, soaking up these final quiet moments before you have to return to your day. Take a deeper inhale. Open your mouth, sigh the breath out, let it go. Ha. Wiggle fingers and toes, stretch the arms up overhead. So just finding some gentle movement. Staying soft and quiet, roll to one side or the other, just finding the fetal position. Good, and then you're gonna use your hands to help you press up to a comfortable seat, which should feel really easy and spacious here. So enjoy that feeling, enjoy the steadiness, the depth, the richness of your breath. And last but not least, hopefully there is a sense of calm, quiet, focus, perhaps even a little bit of joy in your headspace. Don't let that go. Hold on to it the rest of the day. Do your best. And finally, just send yourself love and gratitude for showing up and working hard, for making the effort. Bring your palms together at your heart. Bow your head with a smile. Beautiful work today. Thank you.